Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily astrology with a little help from Tarot. This is the Tarot portion and the second part of my daily astrology vlog, which you can find on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Here I will discuss the card that sits on the side of the page. I'll make a quick review of the day's astrology, and then I'll follow up by playing another tarot card, which usually gives us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The tarot card that currently sits on the side of the page until tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah. So this is the final day for the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is here because it relates astrologically to the final 10 days or the third decan of the sun's transit in the land of Cancer. Cancer is a water sign, and cups are water in the tarot. And water element symbolism has to do with our feelings, our intuitions, and our creative capacity. So when we look at it that way, and we take a look at the Four of Cups here, we see somebody who has, it would appear as though they've already encountered some sort of feelings, intuitions, or creative experiences. And they have a pretty closed off pose in this picture. Their arms are across their chest, their legs are crossed. And they don't seem to notice or care about the fourth cup here that seems to be kind of offered from spirit or offered from outside their experience, right? So this can be an era of contemplation. That, you know, if you take it to an extreme, can begin to look like apathy. And the problem with looking like you are apathetic is that when you behave as though you don't care, people start to treat you like you don't care, and then you have fewer fresh opportunities for inspiration, for emotional, intuitive, and creative experiences, right? So I always think, you know, this person is kind of looking at these previous experiences and saying, I think I've had enough of that for now. I'm kind of over having these emotional or intuitive or creative experiences. And I think I would probably be better off without taking anything else on at this time. And I think it's valid if you especially have been through a lot emotionally or creatively to take a pause, which the four in Tarot often gives us a chance to pause. Okay, so take a pause and sort of think about it, process what you've experienced, give some thought to how you would like those experiences to go again in the future, what you are open to and what you are no longer open to, okay? So that when you are ready to open yourself up to new experience, you kind of know the terms by which you personally are gonna play in that field, right? So, you know, we don't want to close ourselves off entirely to new experiences forever. It's okay to do that briefly so that we can pause and reflect, but we want to remain open, because if we don't remain open, then we are removing from our lives the capacity for us to experience new joy, new happiness, new opportunities, and especially those opportunities for personal growth and expansion that can be so rewarding. So you don't want to miss out on the rewards of being emotionally, intuitively, and creatively connected to the world. And yeah, so I think that's what I have to say about that. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards while I remind myself in the cards that the sun is in Cancer. Today is the final day that the sun is in Cancer. So, you know, as we reflect on the last month, we think about the ways we have stepped up to try to care for, nurture, or protect ourselves and other people. You know, this is the hot time of the year. This is the daylight dominated time of the year. So So, you know, we really naturally get drawn out into the outer life, even though Cancer rules the inner life. It's sort of like there's this commingling of outer life and inner life influences at this time, just because the sun is so dominant right now. And since it's so dominant, it's also really warm and getting warmer out right now. So really appropriate to bring in that water element and to remind ourselves and others that it's important to look out for the people that we care for, to make sure that they are protected, to make sure that they are nourished at this time when it's easy to get like dehydrated or to get sunburned or to get some sort of heat injury. Okay, we want to be really careful with ourselves, with our bodies, and with the bodies of the people that we care about. Venus is also in Cancer and will remain there for a while after the sun checks out and goes to Leo. And Venus in Cancer, you know, this is our receptive, loving hearts, and we're just more open to a more intimate level of connection. Emotional experiences are going to be very much on the menu at this time, especially when it comes to those people and things that we are most drawn to, or those people and things that we keep closest to us. You know, we want to be careful to bring nurture and protection to those relationships, also, though, without being necessarily overly possessive or grasping, okay? And then on the moon side of the page, the moon is now a waning crescent in Taurus. We had the third quarter moon yesterday, so we shifted out of planning to let go of things and into actively letting go of things. And Taurus gives this vibe that says you can go slow and steady. You know, we had the moon in Aries for a couple days and we really felt like making a start on that stuff we are trying to push out. And then Taurus says, okay, Aries speeded us up and got us started, and now Taurus says we can slow down and follow through and, you know, just get that work done at our own pace. But continue to remain active, okay? Continue to be active regarding what it is that you're trying to release. And that's stuff and things, and it's also, you know, ridiculous and absurd and outdated notions, ideas, and dispositions that we've been clinging to, that we can let go of, and time for next Thursday when we have that new moon and we can start again to create for ourselves. On the moon side of the page today, we've got a bunch of conjunct energy, okay, at 11:06 this morning, so sort of in the middle of the day. There's this feeling like we have something either to conquer or defend, okay? We feel really active, we feel really assertive, but if there is nothing there to conquer or defend, we might also feel kind of irritable and impatient, so there might be a little bit of a what do I want to call that? A self-discipline challenge there, right? Where we don't allow ourselves to become irritable or impatient with people just because they're not asking us to actually, you know, go forth and conquer something or provide protection somewhere. And then early tomorrow morning on Friday morning, moon goes conjunct to Uranus, and this is like an intense, almost compulsive desire to shake things up and do things differently. You might be struggling to sleep at 1:14 in the morning when that comes up. That would be normal or at least expected under that influence. Doesn't necessarily mean we have to do things to shake things up. Always, as I say, communicate with the people that are in your home when you're trying to make changes in your home, okay? But also you might have a change of heart at this time. You might have a discovery, make a discovery of something new that changes your perspective, and that can be a really positive thing if you're sort of compelled to change your heart and mind about something because of an experience you've had. On the sun side of the page, we have a bunch of stuff in the ongoing column. North Node is conjunct to Uranus through August 15th, okay? And this is like, they're in Taurus, so that's about security and resource and enjoying those material comforts. North Node is about our trajectory, and I say short-term trajectory because the North Node is in one sign for 18 months before it shifts to the next. North Node went into Taurus back in January, so we have about a year ahead of us yet of North Node in Taurus, and that means that our general trajectory right now is toward sort of receiving, pulling in the resources that we need to feel supported and secure in our homes. and comfortable. And then Uranus in Taurus this is like an 8-year transit, and we're in the middle of it. It's there from like 2019 to 2027 or something like that. So, you know, we've seen this, you know, Uranus brings about shifting and changing, and Uranus and Taurus is like the shifting and changing of the reliability of our resources, right? Our ability to get our hands on those things that we like to have so that we feel comfortable and secure at home. We've watched the supply chain just go whoop, 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 back and forth. That's very much Uranus and Taurus kind of feeling. So North Node, our cultural trajectory and our personal short-term trajectory in this intensified sort of buzzy relationship with the planet that brings about these abrupt changes and new perspectives and new ways of looking at and doing things. This can add up to sort of shifting trajectories for that, you know, for that stability and security we're trying to draw in. We can sort of peer down the road a year in advance and see how almost like a wobble in the timeline where we have different options appearing to us. And if we see an option that we like better than the one that we are already pursuing, it's okay to switch tracks at this time, but understand you're still going to have to do the work to fulfill the obligation to be on that track and get what you need from it, right? Pluto is retrograde through October 8th. We are going through fundamental changes inside and out. It is the final retrograde of Pluto in Capricorn for another 200 or so years. So in our natural lifetimes, we won't see that happen again, Pluto in Capricorn at all. And, you know, so, you know, take seriously the fact that culturally, we are going through these foundational changes. Personally, we are going through these foundational changes. We don't always know what they are. The subconscious is sub for a reason, okay? So we're not always aware of exactly what changes we're going through, but we need to be kind to ourselves and kind to others because everybody's kind of going through this, and it's big. It's a complete and total shift. Sun and Mercury are both in opposition to Pluto right now, and this is sort of represents a struggle for control, sort of there can be fighting with ourselves and others over ideas about, you know, what changes we think can be coming up, or, you know, like who has the power to make those changes, right? And you know, how we can grasp the power to make changes the way we'd like to see them made. So understand that there might be a little bit of competition at this time, a little bit of a competitive vibe, and just things coming up that we did not expect, changes coming up that we did not expect. And so, you know, we might be struggling to gain control in the outer life, like in our work, social, or civic spaces, but we also may be struggling at home and in our own hearts and minds to gain control, as well as these sort of conflicting ideas and desires for expression come up for us. Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius, and so it wants us to recognize and revise our sense of participation in the community. And what I'm saying about that is, you know, we know how we would like to say that we participate in our community. We know how we would like to say that we show up for, you know, the people, the collective of people that contribute to our personal well-being. And if we're not showing up that way, if we haven't been, we're going to know that too. So we also know what we have to do. Neptune is retrograde. The truth can be told. We can tell the difference between the fantasy and the reality, and that's beautiful because it doesn't dispel the fantasy. It doesn't make the fantasy or the dream go away, and it doesn't make it any less powerful. It just puts it in the proper place, okay? So where we're not living in it, not thinking that we are already in the dream or the fantasy. Dreams and fantasies are ideals toward which we strive in the real world, okay? So if you think, you know, if you've been laboring under the illusion that you're living in your dream, you know, you're going to wake up to the fact that you're just living in a reality that hopefully you can use to push yourself toward your dream. And the sun is trine to Neptune right now, so that really brings out sort of our compassionate hearts, our desire to help people, again, out in the community. It's a very Saturn in Aquarius kind of vibe. It's a very Aquarian kind of vibe in general. So, and that trine aspect there says that the things that we do out in the outer life to try to assist or to help others are really blessings that will have bigger returns for us than we think they will. And then Chiron is also a retrograde in the sign of Aries. That's another 8-year transit that we're right in the middle of. And we seek at this time to heal our social wounds by turning our knowledge about healing and about being in social spaces back toward ourselves, so that we can see, like, okay, these defensive walls that we put up, these behaviors and attitudes I've put in place to help me cope in these social situations where I feel I've been wounded. You know, what part of these walls can come down? How can I become more vulnerable and less defensive, and therefore more capable of participating out in the community? And with all of that said, oh, we got the Hermit. Okay. So the Hermit is a major arcana card, so that the message of the Hermit is meant to be somewhat stronger or more impactful than, say, you know, a card like the Four of Cups. And the Hermit is really about a person, or a personal desire to withdraw from culture, okay? Not because we hate culture, or not because we want to, you know, live in a shack in the woods and build bombs or anything like that, but really because we have a lot on our mind. There is much that we know we need to study, and we want to be able to be wise. We want to be able to be knowledgeable, so that we can, I don't know if you can see, there's a lantern here, so that we can, you know, hold up a light for other people to see and advance in knowledge as well. So, you know, the way I look at this, the Hermit in this card is sort of looking toward the future and holding up a light in that direction. And you see this business back here, it's all sort of back behind the face, right? It's the stuff that's going on in this person's head. They're working on knowing more. They're working on sort of unraveling universal truths, personal truths, interpersonal truths, so that they can help people see the way forward. And where do we see that on the page here? Well, okay, so looking for the way forward and studying about that. You know, North Node conjunct to Uranus, we see our trajectory that we've been on for the short term, where we're just trying to gain the material steadiness and support that we require. You know, in this conjunct with Uranus that says, oh yeah, there are a number of ways that you could go about doing that. I know you thought there were 1 or 2 ways and one way was going to work really well, but here are maybe 3 or 4 different ways that you might be able to reach that feeling of being supported that look differently, right? So we have the opportunity to sort of peer into the future here and see what is available to us, right? And to be a guide to ourselves and to others regarding, you know, what it's going to take if we actually do shift our trajectories. We can look out there and we can see that we have the capacity to do that. But if we shift trajectories at this time, we're going to have to also do the work to bring us in alignment with that track, right? And, you know, the Hermit does go through fundamental changes on the inside and the outside so that they can become a learned and wise person. They sort of eschew finer things. They're not looking to live in a nice house. They're not trying to, you know, necessarily have a family around them or even necessarily students around them. They seek to be alone. They live an ascetic life where they kind of go without things so that they can just be alone with their thoughts and their studies. And we do that because we want to help. You know, it's really not just for the sake of the Hermit that the Hermit turns within and you know, does not always participate in community. It's also so that eventually that person will have something of value to share with the community. And taken together with the Four of Cups, okay, so we see 2 different approaches, you know, here, 2 different cards that sort of indicate contemplation, right? The Four of Cups is contemplating on what I read to be past experiences that represent emotions, intuitions, or creations that we have been involved in. And the Hermit is more about contemplation of existing knowledge so that we can light a way forward for others, okay? So in this case, you know, the contemplation of these past experiences may put us in a place of sort of being blocked from being open to that path forward, so that we can't necessarily see how to have any more of those experiences, or how we can, you know, sort of fathom getting back into that pool, right? Whereas the Hermit goes really willingly into this space of contemplation so that they will eventually be able to turn away from the contemplation and be open to the new experience of being a gift to others in terms of education and enlightenment. So, you know, last night we had the Knight of Swords, or yesterday we had the Knight of Swords, and I would say that, you know, there was something there about trying to articulate what it is that we've been through so that we might be able to move forward. And here I see sort of, you know, maybe we need to not necessarily just dwell on the feelings, not necessarily just dwell on the emotional aspect of what we've been through, but actually, you know, think about the usefulness of those experiences in our ability to move forward and to be not just, you know, more complete in ourself according to our own reckoning, but also, you know, a resource to others. All right, these experiences aren't just about us. They're about us and the people that we like to keep close. They're about our human collective. So we have to remain open, and we have to be willing to sort of look forward. Don't shut yourself off from new experiences just because, you know, the old experiences were upsetting for you. You really need to take some time and give them some thought, some contemplation. And with the thought and contemplation you give it, then you have wisdom that you can share with others down the road. But of course, to share that wisdom, you're going to have to be open to the new experiences. Okay, that's all I have to say about it today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I truly appreciate your presence here with me. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.